The video today is designed to help you write linear equations in slope-intercept form when the slope and the y-intercept is given to you. This will help down the road when you're given a graph and you need to write the linear equation or a graph line. You will be able to, once you are able to identify the y-intercept and the slope from the graph, you'll be able to input it into the linear equation. So today, all you will be doing is given the y-intercept and the slope of a line, and you need to put it into slope-intercept form. And as a reminder, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, and you need to remember that the m in y equals mx plus b, that is your slope, and the b value is the y-intercept. So as you are writing these, you are going to keep the y equals an x in part of every problem, and you're just replacing the m and you're just replacing the b. And as we work this, you'll see exactly what I mean as we do this. So let's just go to our first example. Our first example is the slope equals 4 over 3. The slope is 4 over 3. The y-intercept is -1. And we know that the letter for slope is m. The letter for y-intercept is b. And we're going to continue to use y equals mx plus b. And what we're going to do is we're going to replace the m with our slope, replace the b with our y-intercept. And remember, the slope is attached to the x, the slope is being multiplied into the x, so you will always have them side by side with no operation in between them. The y-intercept, the positive or negative will determine if it's a plus or minus problem. So let's go ahead and look at this problem. So we're going to rewrite the y equals, because that will be part of every answer. Y equals, and the slope they gave us was 4 over 3, 4 over 3x, and our y-intercept is -1, so we'll put -1. So the way you write this into slope-intercept form is y equals 4 over 3x minus 1. Next example, we have the slope equals 1, the y-intercept equals -4. Again, y equals mx plus b. The slope is m, the y-intercept is b. So we will have y equals, and I want you to go ahead and write this out the first time, 1x, and then it's because the slope is 1, so we'll put in the 1 for m, and the y-intercept is -4, so you'll see -4. However, that's not where we're going to finish, because if you had to select this from a multiple choice selection in a multiple choice problem, it may be ACT, SAT, anywhere along those lines, they will not have the 1 in front of the x, because they assume that you already know that 1 times anything is whatever you're multiplying 1 into. So 1 times 10 is 10, 1 times 400 is 400, 1 times 6,430 is 6,430. So we would know 1 times x would be x. So the answer for this one would be y equals 1, nope, messed it up. Y equals x minus 4. Sometimes you get ahead of yourself and you'll just keep doing the same thing. So again, they will assume that you know that 1 times anything is itself, and they would assume that you know that 1 times x is x. So y equals x minus 4 would be what you would select if this was a multiple choice style problem, or if the teacher that you have thinks that you should not be putting a coefficient of 1 in front of the variable of x. Next one, slope 1 over 4, y-intercept is 4. We know the slope is m, the y-intercept is b. Still using y equals mx plus b. So we would have y equals the slope 1 over 4, x, and y-intercept is +4, so we'll put +4. Y equals 1 over 4x plus 4. Again, the slope is your 1 over 4. The y-intercept is your 4, and that's why we replaced those when we wrote these into slope-intercept form. Next example, a little bit different. It changes up a little bit, but we're still using y equals mx plus b. Slope is still m, y-intercept is still b. That's not going to change. But this time our slope is -5, which is not abnormal, but our y-intercept is 0. I tell my students that if you have a y-intercept of 0, the number 0 represents nothing. So if you ever had nothing, you know it's 0 of something. So in this case, it says the y-intercept is 0, and as you write it out, y equals with the slope of -5x. What follows x? Well, they tell you it should be plus or minus 0, but we know that 0 represents nothing, so nothing will follow x. So the way you would write this one is y equals -5x. Just remember, if you're selecting from multiple choice, that you will be looking for the actual values, numbers that will go into these. So in this case, if you're given the number 0, that represents nothing, so the nothing will go there. Another example, now these are both negative. Y equals mx plus b. Yes, I'm repeating myself, but again, that's a good way just to hammer home the point that we're trying to make of what the slope-intercept form looks like. Again, our slope is -2 over 5, so we'll put y equals -2 over 5x. The y-intercept is -1, so instead of plus -1, we'll just put -1. So the slope-intercept form, when the slope is -2 over 5 and the y-intercept is -1, is y equals -2 over 5x minus 1. Again, if you haven't picked up on it yet, the m and the b variables are going to be the ones being replaced, and the y equals and x has stayed in all of the equations, and there has been no reason to remove any of those, so that is why we are continuing to work with these. So let's go to the last example, and this is where it's just a little bit different, but I don't think it's too much of a change. Yes, slope is m, y-intercept is b. We are using y equals mx plus b as the base of everything, where our slope is m, our y-intercept is b. So we're going to plug in those two, and we will have y equals 0x plus 1, because the y-intercept is 1, the slope was 0, so we plug those in. But there's another thing that will need to be assumed or used. They expect you to know that when you multiply anything by 0, it makes it 0. So in the case that we have 0 times x, we know 0 times anything is 0, so it does not matter what x is. 0 times x is 0. So when you rewrite this problem, or you look for this problem on a multiple choice test, it would be y equals 1, because the 0 of the slope would cancel out the x variable. So the answer to this one would be would be y equals 1, just a slope or a line with no slope that would cross the y-intercept at +1. Hopefully this helped out and is pretty good for you guys to understand. If you have any questions, just ask. If you have any requests of videos that you need for me to make, just ask. And we will continue to use this information from this video in the next video that comes up, when you are given a graph and you need to put it into slope-intercept form. Have a good day.